I posted this video on Instagram this week. This kid left me a comment like, Dre, I've been trying to get in touch with you. Can you tell me how I can get in touch with you? I said, what you mean you've been trying to get in touch with me? I'm like the easiest guy to get in touch with on the whole internet. I said, just go to my website and send me an email. There's a button right there that says contact. Just send me an email. And he said, yeah, I understand that and all, but, you know, I don't use email because email is for old people. I said, oh, that's news to me. Let's get into the Q&A.
DreAllDay.com.
What's up, everybody? Dre Baldwin, DreAllDay.com. Welcome to Q&A number 62 that we do here every Saturday on this channel. For those of you who are not familiar with how the Q&A works, I'll explain that in a second. First thing, all the gear, hats, t-shirts, hoodies, we even got iPhone cases, all that stuff. Everything is on hoophandbook.com now. So if you want workout programs, you want merchandise, you want gear, all of it's in the same place, all on my training program and also now merchandise site, hoophandbook.com. So WOYG.net. If you go to that URL, it's just going to take you to hoophandbook.com. So we got everything in one spot. So I don't have so many different website addresses that people got to remember because y'all ain't going to remember. So anyway, this is the Q&A. We do this every Saturday here. I record this video every Friday afternoon. Right now it is Friday at 12:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time when I'm recording this. The way the Q&A works, for those who don't know, what I do is go through the comments from last week's Q&A. I read the questions that somebody posted, and I respond to it right there on the spot. And then everything that I'm responding to, this video that you're watching right now, I'm just recording this, and this will become the next Q&A, which is Q&A 62. You leave your comments and questions in the comments to this video down there, and everything I respond to those will be Q&A 63. So the Q&A process just keeps reproducing itself. So if y'all keep leaving me quality questions, good questions, then we'll keep having good videos and we'll just keep this thing going. So without further ado, let's get straight into the Q&A. First question is coming from Abdul Rahman Salem. He says, Dre, thanks for the tips. Now he can dunk in games. Well, congratulations, you're dunking in games. I know that's a big step for a lot of players. And he says, the question is how to do a reverse dunk. Well, it's not really Abdul Rahman. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, but it's not really me explaining in words how to do a reverse dunk. But reverse dunking is something that I had a problem with for a long time because I was jumping the same way that I would for a regular dunk, trying to do a reverse. But I found the easiest way to do a reverse, if you approach off 1 foot, like a 1 foot dunk instead of jumping off 2, is that you got to jump from a little bit further out. Like you got to jump, don't try to jump so close under the rim, because what I would find is I would step, my last step would be under the rim, and by the time I reach up to dunk, I'm already past the rim. The rim's always back there, so I'm reaching backwards and missing the rim, even though I'm high enough. So you got to jump basically the same way you would for a regular dunk at the front of the rim for a reverse, and you'll find that by the time you get under the rim, you'll be at the perfect spot and you can reverse it. You just got to keep practicing it. So since you can dunk, it's not a question of jumping high, it's just a question of getting the footwork right. So you get your steps right, and you'll start making that dunk. Just keep practicing it. Next question is Dimitri Hay. He says, why don't you do the top 10 workout music videos anymore? Well, it's not that I stopped doing them. I just haven't done one recently. But maybe eventually I'll get to doing them again. But I think some of the other stuff I've been doing, like the stories and things like that, people like those. When I get around to doing the music ones again, I will get those out. But it's not that I just don't do them. I just haven't been doing them. Next question. Ranair says, he's looking for some information, but he can't find it on my page or anything. He says, what do I do for basketball career-wise? Am I going to play for a team? What's my main occupation this year? Well, first of all, as far as basketball goes, I am a free agent. Am I going to try to play on another team again? I don't know. I can't really say right now. Somebody would have to make me a really good offer for me to do that. Otherwise, probably not, is what I'll say. And what's my main occupation this year is minding my business is my main occupation. And when I say that, I'm not even trying to be facetious, but minding my business, like my actual business, my mind is completely on that. So whatever my business is, that's what my mind's on. Next question. Harvinder says, do you get paid playing college basketball? No, college athletes do not get paid, but they are quote unquote compensated with scholarships, at least at some levels. You get room and board and food and stuff like that. But actual paycheck of money, no. The 2K boss says, Is it worth wasting energy and time on dunking since you rarely do it in a game because you focus more on important aspects? He says he can almost dunk, but he doesn't think it's very useful. Well, 2K, I can't really say what's worth it for you. If you don't think dunking is useful, then don't do it. But if you think it is useful, then you can put the effort and energy into it. I think if you were able to dunk, then you probably wouldn't say it was useless, right? Because then you'd be doing it. So I think it might be just more of a sour grapes situation with you. If you get the ability to dunk, then you won't be calling it useless no more. But whatever it is that works best for you to be successful, whatever way you measure success, you go ahead and do that. It's not for anybody else to tell you what's worth your effort, because it's your effort. Nobody else can tell you what to do with it. Next question. Jamae Clark says, he likes my videos, keep up the good content. He says, did I eat a lot of fast food when I was growing up? Well, thank you first, Jamae. I wouldn't say a lot, but I ate it. I wasn't on any type of diet plan or lifestyle eating plan when I was growing up, so I would just eat. So yes, I ate McDonald's, like coming from, let me think, middle school and high school, there was a McDonald's right next to like the bus stop when we got off the train. So I would go to McDonald's a couple times a week, maybe 3, 4, even 5 times a week. I'd go to McDonald's, maybe just get some fries, maybe get an extra value meal, a cheeseburger, stuff like that. Yeah, we ate that stuff all the time. But when you're young, your system flushes that stuff out pretty quickly. At least mine did, actually. Let me not say that in general for everybody, because that's not true. My system flushed that stuff out quickly. And I've also always been very active. I've always been in the sports even before it was basketball. So I have a very fast metabolism. Part of that is genetics, and part of that is my activity level as a person. So for me, it got through my system quick. But of course, there are 14-year-old kids who are severely obese already at that age. So it's not necessarily the same thing that applies to everyone. So to answer your question, yeah, I ate fast food. I wouldn't say a lot, but I ate it on a regular basis. Julius Wilson says, what's the best shooting drill to do? Ain't really no one best shooting drill, Julius, because there's different ways you might get shots in a game. You might have a catch and shoot situation. Then you might have a situation where you need to create a shot off the dribble. Maybe 1 dribble, 2 dribbles, maybe breaking down a defender when you're bringing the ball off the floor or stuff like that. So there's no one best shooting drill. The best shooting drill to do is the one that is most closely related to the situations that you're finding yourself in live game situations. Because the only purpose of doing drills is so you get better at the game situations, right? Next question. Chris Thomas says, do you have any tips for a slow running basketball player who wants to get past their defender? He says every time he tries to attack the rim, he gets cut off by his defender, and it leads to either a turnover or him having to just pass the ball off to somebody else. Well, Chris, it's not necessarily, you don't need to be faster. I mean, if you're a slow running player, I don't know if you mean slow running, like basketball is not a lot of just straight back and forth running. Well, it is like offense to defense, but if you mean trying to break down a defender, that can be using your body, using deception, using your footwork, and using your timing. So it's not all about you just being super out-quicking everybody, because 2 things. Number one, no matter how quick you are, usually there's always going to be somebody who's quicker. Like, there's only one person can be the quickest, right? And even when you go against the person who's the quickest, you can still get past that person if you're able to use different timing, different deception, different footwork, different angles, and you're able to use your body in different ways. If you watch basketball and you see 2 great point guards going at it, they might have equal quickness. So you can't just out-quick the other guy. You got to be able to deceive that guy, get him leaning one way while you go another way, make him think is this when it's really that. And it doesn't have to be no crazy highlight move crossover. If you got a defender leaning on his right leg and you go towards his left leg, that half a second, that split second that it takes him to respond and lean the other way, you already have gotten your shot off. So sometimes it's just a matter of inches and millimeters. It's just using your moves and changing direction, getting defenders to shift their weight forward, backward, left, right, and then you're going in the opposite direction from where they're going. That can create the space for you. And he says when he tries to attack the rim, he gets cut off and it leads to a turnover and him passing to the wing. Well, Chris, you can use a defender's ability against them. So if a defender cuts you off, let's say you drive hard to the basket and the guy guarding you, you drive hard to your right and you going hard and the defender cuts you off, he gets right in front of you. That's when you can use something like a snatchback crossover, where you stop your momentum, you snatch the ball back, your defender has cut you off, so he's here, but you've kind of moved back a little bit because you stopped moving. You got space there. Chris Paul's a guy who's excellent at using a snatchback. Even Devin Harris, I think that's his name. Devin Harris, who plays for the Dallas Mavericks, the point guard. He's another guy who's really good at using the snatchback crossover. And there's a lot of point guards who are good at it. Russell Westbrook's a guy who he's getting better at using his different speeds. He's so fast. Sometimes he just goes at full speed. He could just blow by everybody. Tony Parker's another guy who changes up speeds. Chris Paul is the guy I would say is the best, though, at changing speeds. There's a lot of younger guys, y'all didn't see Chris Paul before he had a couple of knee injuries. When he was early in his career in the league, he was super quick, and he would out-quick everybody. But after a couple of knee injuries, he's not as quick as he was when he first came into the NBA, but he's still just as effective and just as good and just as unguardable when he wants to be a scorer, because he learned how to use his timing. He learned how to use his body. He learned how to use deception. He can get a defender leaning one way, and then he goes the other way, and then he can change it up during the course of a game to keep the defender guessing, keep defenders off balance, and he can get his shot. Like last week, he had, 33 points against Westbrook, who's the most athletic guy in the world. So it's not like it can't be done. It's just a matter of understanding your defender and just outthinking them. Outthinking them, not thinking like you sit there and plan out every move, but outthinking them instinctively, in that you can respond in the moment in a way that the defender's not expecting. And if you need more moves and drills for that, Chris, I suggest you go to hoophandbook.com and get the Chris Paul Signature Workout Program, which will get you using these moves instinctively, exactly the way that I just described. Next question is Sasukari. Says, thanks for answering, but he realized that he did what I said without noticing. I don't know what he's referring to because he didn't refer to his question. But he said his team does pass now, and they're winning more games as a team now. Well, that's great. I think Sasukari was complaining that his teammates didn't pass the ball too much, or he didn't pass the ball enough. Well, maybe it was just 1 or 2 games that happened, and you were just emotional about it, and it wasn't really a trend, but just something that happened in the moment. So I'm glad you got that resolved. Next question. M. Predon says, how do you get faster dribbling and handles? He asked a couple questions, so we'll answer these one at a time. He said, how do you get faster dribbling and handles? Well, the first way to get faster dribbling and handles is actually only one way. If you want to play faster, you got to practice faster. So whatever speed you do your dribbling practice now, do it faster. And yes, you are capable of doing that. The next question says, does working out at home with weights help much when it comes to getting better at basketball? Well, it can. It just depends on how you use the weights. Because if you just have a set of weights, there's a million different things you can do with the weights. So it matters what you're doing. And if you need something that will help you as far as strength training goes, that will help you play better basketball, then I suggest you take a look at the programs that are put together by my strength and conditioning coach, Maria Solon-Scally. Those programs are called the Ultimate Athlete and Position of Power, and they are both at hoophandbook.com. And you can read full descriptions and details of what is in each program on the website, hoophandbook.com, and the links to those are in the video description below. And then he says there's some athletic guys who are strong and big, but they can't play basketball if their life depends on it, which is why he's unsure. And then he asked me, all right, well, I already addressed that question. So yes, you're right. There are guys who are athletic and strong and quick and fast, can jump high, but they're not good at basketball. Because basketball is not just about having a great body. You also got to be able to, when somebody puts the ball in your hand, you got to be able to do something with it, right? So you need a combination of both, which is what makes basketball difficult, because it's not any one thing that you could just do and automatically be good. You got to do a combination of things. You got to be able to use the ball very well. You got to be able to play without the ball, and you're going to need the body, because there are athletes out there that you're going to have to be able to beat. Then he says, do you play college basketball, or are you being watched by scouts or anything? All right. And then he asked, could I at least answer the second question about working at home? Well, I answered all your questions. I'll answer your last question. I'm not in college. I know I look young, but I'm not that young. I'm 33 years old. I have played in college. I graduated from college 11 years ago. So I'm flattered that you think I'm young enough to look like I'm in college, but I am not. And if you go to my website, dreallday.com, you can read my background so you get a little bit better understanding of who this person is who's making these videos. Next question. KB Titan. He says, Dre, do you think shooting in the game is overrated and always the main thing most ballers like to do, like shooting threes instead of working on important things like defense, post scoring, studying plays and moving without the ball, rebounding, and passing? He thinks those things are mostly neglected because nowadays it's all about threes, crossovers, and dunks. He wishes he was born in the 70s. KB Titan, no, I don't think that is even the case. I think maybe you just might be thinking that. I don't know what players you've been watching, but I see a lot of players who are pretty good at all those things that you mentioned. So I have no reference to the question you're asking. Next question. Kirel Green says, what time do you wake up and go to sleep? I go to sleep anywhere between 10 and 12, 10 p.m. and 12 midnight. And I wake up usually before 5 a.m. Next question. NBA Head says, how come all the kids on Baller's Life seem so talented and athletic? Baller's Life being, I guess, a YouTube channel that posts like highlight videos. And he says, a lot of kids on there seem talented and athletic, but they never go to the NBA. Is it because they don't have fundamentals down, or is it because they just can't perform at a high level? Well, first off, I don't think we could say all the kids on Baller's Life don't go to the NBA, because I'm sure there are some kids who've been on there in high school who did go to the NBA. So I wouldn't say all of them. And everybody can't go to the NBA. There's only so many jobs in the NBA. Everybody can't go. And then he says they're talented and athletic. And then he says that because they don't have fundamentals, it's because they just can't perform at a high level. Well, I don't know. I really can't speak on why any certain person doesn't do anything, because number one, I don't watch Baller's Life highlight videos of high school players, so I don't even know whom specifically you're referring to. But are there some players out there who don't have fundamentals? Yes. Are there some players who are talented but don't perform at a high level? Yes. But are there also kids who are talented and athletic who do have fundamentals and can play at a high level? Yes. LeBron James being one. He's a pretty good example. John Wall being another. Chris Paul being another. I mean, a lot of the superstars you watch on in the NBA right now were guys who are on Baller's Life. So we definitely can't say all of them never go to the NBA. That's incorrect. Top Notch Sports says, what is your favorite basketball movie? His is Coach Carter. I don't have a favorite basketball movie. I'm not a movie guy at all. Martin Ivanov says, well, I post a vid of a full workout so he can see what my workout by myself. So I see what I work on by myself instead of, and he puts in quotations, 2-minute clips of a move. Well, Martin Ivanov, where have you been? I got a playlist on my channel. You know what it's called? It's called Full Workouts. So I think you should go over there and then you'll see the thing that you're asking for, because I've been doing that for years. Next question. Trey P. T-Mac says, Dre, I'm 15. I'm 5'7", 130 pounds. I want to gain weight and put on a lot of muscle. He goes to his gym in high school every day. He does bench presses, squats, and other compound movements. Would it be beneficial to keep working out, or is he too young and just hurting himself? Well, I can't say that you're hurting yourself, Tay, for two reasons. Number one, I don't know exactly what it is that you're doing. You're telling me what you're doing, but it matters not only you just saying the workout, is how you're doing it. Do you have a proper form? How much weight are you using? How many reps are you doing? How often are you doing it? What else are you doing outside of that training? All of that stuff factors in. And number two, I am not qualified to even answer that question. Even if I had all that information, I'm still not qualified to tell you if it's good or if it's not good, or if you're hurting yourself or if you're not hurting yourself. But there is a person who is, and that would be my strength and conditioning coach. Her name is Maria Solon Scally. She made the two programs I referenced earlier. One is called Ultimate Athlete. The other is Position of Power. So since you have access to weights, Position of Power, which is a 10-week strength training program designed for someone who does have access to equipment and weights, such as yourself, you can use that program, and that's designed specifically for a basketball player's strength development. Now, if you want a program that doesn't require weights at all, that you could do at home or in the gym if you want, that's Ultimate Athlete. That's also, they're both at hoophandbook.com. You can get them both together along with my warm-up, cool-down, stretching, and conditioning programs in the complete off-court training program. Complete athletic package is what we call it, actually. And all of the things that I just mentioned are at hoophandbook.com. Next, R3N1 says, what's your favorite season and character from The Wire? Now, that's a really good question. That's a good question. I didn't expect that one. His favorite season, I don't think I can remember the seasons, like what happened in each season. I can remember it if I start watching it, but I can't remember each season piece by piece. The only one I remember is season 2 was down at the docks. My favorite character from The Wire, I mean, of course I'm going to say the same person everybody says, which is Omar, right? But if I had to pick someone other than Omar, I'm going to have to go with Stringer Bell. Stringer Bell. I like Chris also. Chris, who was Margot's right-hand man. Who else? I'll go with those two. Stringer and Chris. Next question. C. Joy Dempsey says, what's your favorite hooping shoe right now? Somebody just asked me that last week. Next question. PG the God 13 says, do you think PG will come back the same, worse, or better? And I guess PG, he's referring to, looking at his avatar, it means Paul George of the Indiana Pacers. I think he will come back. I think he will eventually get better, probably next season, because even if he comes back this year, he's not going to have enough time to really ramp his game up unless he plays a whole lot of minutes in the month of March, like this last month of the NBA season before the playoffs, because I think the Pacers are going to make the playoffs. They might actually knock the Miami Heat out of the playoffs. They might knock them out of the playoff, getting into the playoffs, not out of the playoffs like in the first round of them. But I think they're going to knock the Heat out of the top 8 in the Eastern Conference. So I think Paul George will, if he gets a lot of minutes, he can eventually get up. It depends on what type of shape he's in physically and mentally. But I would have to see him play first before I could really say. But I guess you asked me for a prediction. I will say this year he'll be about, compared to last year, I'll say the same. But next year he'll be better because he'll have a whole off season to get his game right. Next question. Irving fan 2563. He says, the girl at his school who's really hot, really attractive, is what he means by hot. He wants to ask her out, and she says she would date her if he can beat this girl's current boyfriend one-on-one in a basketball game. Now, I've never heard of that before, but okay. He says he's not good at basketball, but he's 6'4", and her boyfriend is only 5'10", but he's a starting point guard for the high school. Do I have any favorite moves that he should practice to use on him? And the game is on March 30th. So you got about... So this guy says, this is his story. He wants this girl, and the girl said, I'll go out with you if you could beat this other guy in basketball who happens to be my boyfriend. He's 5'10", and he's a point guard on the team. So he plays basketball, but this guy, he's 6'4". He doesn't play basketball, and he's not good at basketball. Do I have any favorite moves he should use to practice on him? I think the best thing you should do, Irving fan 2563, actually there's a couple things you should do. I don't even believe this story, but let's just assume that it's true. All right. First thing you should do is not even want to date this girl, because any girl who's going to choose her man based on the winner of a basketball game, she doesn't have much value she's not going to bring much value to you. Unless you're just looking for a trophy, like some arm candy, so that when you got the girl with you, everybody's looking at you, and that boosts your reputation. But otherwise, any girl that's going to choose a man based on who won a basketball game, she has no value. Trust me, I've seen enough to tell you that with absolute 100% conviction. Next question. The next part of this is, if you're not a basketball player, why would you let the outcome of something that you care about, which is getting this girl, be determined by a game of basketball? That makes no sense. Why don't you try to sway it so that the advantage is on your side and have the competition be between you and this guy and something that you're actually good at? Since you're not good at basketball, why would you agree to playing a game of basketball to get what you want? If you're not good at basketball, you're setting yourself up to lose. So what I think you need to do is go talk to them and kind of change this bet around, change around this agreement to something that you actually are good at, so that you have much higher odds of winning. Next question. And between now and March 30th, no, you're not going to develop any moves that are going to make you beat somebody who plays basketball if you're not good at it, is my overall answer. Next question. Austin Bellinger says, what's the best way to get your shot on at practice when you're in a slump? The best way is to keep shooting. Next question. Tyler Waffle says, Dre, my life dream is to make it to the NBA, and thanks to me, his road is a whole lot easier. So, okay, I'm glad to hear that. And he says his question is, he's a sophomore in high school. He missed tryouts for the first 2 years of high school because of injury. And this year, he forgot to get his physical paperwork signed, which is like the release form by his parents that allows him to try out. Because when I was in high school, we had to do the same thing. So now, he says he has 2 years to show his worth. And he wants to know, here's his question. Is there enough time to be noticed by college and recruited by a Division I school? The answer to that question is yes. So you're going into the first year you'll be having an opportunity to play will be your third year, which is your junior year. Yes, that is enough time to be noticed and signed. You can get signed as a senior if you play well enough, because I know I have friends who are college coaches. and they tell me that they always hold on to a couple of scholarships even into the summers before that actual school year, because you never know what player might pop up available or somebody they didn't know about who was kind of under the radar. So yes, you do have enough time to get noticed. If your performance is at the level that will get that attention from whomever you want it from, yes, you can get that attention. So yes, there's plenty of time. And then he says, how do I become a lethal scorer without shooting 37 or 38 shots per game? Or is that what I have to do? All right, well, Tyler, it has nothing to do with shooting 37 and 38 shots per game. A lethal scorer? Well, first of all, I can't define what that means. That's something that you just made up, that phrase. I mean, I've heard it before, but that's a relative phrase. Anybody can make that mean whatever they want. I could say a lethal scorer is a person who takes one shot and makes it, so they're shooting 100%. And somebody else could say a lethal scorer means you got to score 30. It's subjective. But if you want to be a person who's known as a scorer, you want to be a person who's recognized as a scorer, who the other team has to try to game plan to stop, that means you just have to be a person who can put the ball in the basket. It doesn't have anything to do with how many shots you're taking. It has to do with how efficient you are, as in how many points you're producing. So it's not about taking shots, it's about producing points. You can get those from free throws, because when you get free throws, if you get fouled shooting a shot, that shot doesn't even count as a field goal attempt, because you're just going to the line for the free throw unless you make it and it counts as an and one. But if you get fouled shooting a jumper and you miss, that doesn't count as a field goal attempt. So you can get it from free throws. You can just be an efficient scorer. So it has nothing to do with shooting every time. It has to do with making a lot of shots, not taking a lot of shots. Next question. Oh, and he said if he makes an NBA, he wants me to know who it is when his name gets called. Well, Tyler, I probably won't remember your name, I'll be honest. But if you make it, you remember my name, and then you shout me out. So I won't have to try to remember you. Next question. Andrew Francis says, oh, he referred to something I said last week about fundraising, that you're not lying because you're raising funds for yourself. And that's absolutely right. So I'm glad you like that, Andrew. Next question. Harvinder, you already asked me a question. Next question. Oxy OS. He said, you got some good stuff here. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to have you here finding this content if you do around here. Ryan Comito says, I'm trying to get my athleticism up, and he wants to ask, what's the difference between Ultimate Athlete and the Work 52 program? He knows Work 52 is longer, but what's the difference between the workouts? Well, Ryan and anyone else who's asking about the Work 52 program, which you can find, I don't believe it's on Hoop Handbook, but it's on iTunes, it's on Amazon. Work 52 is a combination between the Ultimate Athlete and the Position of Power in one program. So we combine those two into one program, and you can get that, like I said, on Amazon or on iTunes. So the difference is not actually different from the Ultimate Athlete. Well, it is, but it's not, because the Ultimate Athlete, all the elements of Ultimate Athlete are in Work 52, and it's combined with the elements of Position of Power, which makes it a program for which you would need equipment. Whereas with Ultimate Athlete, you do not need any equipment whatsoever. And Work 52 is a year-long program. It's a 52-week program. Whereas Ultimate Athlete is a 15-week program. So it's 4 times longer. Next question. Momo Tahir says, I'm in 9th grade and play point guard for my school team. He bought the Kyrie program. He says he's seeing some in Kyrie program from hoophandbook.com. He's seeing some good results so far, so thanks a lot. Well, you're welcome, Momo. I'm glad to see you're getting results so far. He says he can get to the basket and blow by defenders. Problem is he's a bad shooter when he's in one-on-one situations. Which program should he get, or what should I suggest? What do I suggest? He'd be appreciative if I could help him out. Well, first of all, Momo, the Kyrie program features outside shooting too. So I don't know how much of the program you've done so far, but Kyrie's signature workout program at hoophandbook.com does feature outside shooting. But if you want another program that's for outside shooting, you're talking about creating off the dribble, I would have to go with, there's several. Stephon Marbury is one. Baron Davis is another. Tony Parker is another. Gilbert Arenas is another. Stephen Curry is another. So I'll give you those 5. Any one of those 5 will help you with outside shooting off the dribble. Next question. David DeLucci says, thanks for answering my questions about moves. He says, is there a way to improve his speed and ball handling so he can do scoring moves quickly, and a way to fix shooting from above his head? All right, well, first of all, fix shooting from above your head. It's not that you actually have to fix it, it's just that you want to change it to something else, because it's not necessarily broken. Because if you shoot above your head and you make it, then it doesn't need to be fixed, right? So you could just keep it that way and just start making the shots by practicing more. But if you want to change it, then you first of all, you got to figure out what you want to change it to. So you can't just get in your car and start driving and say, can you tell me how to get there? And I don't know where there is. It's like using your GPS. The only way the GPS starts working is when you put in the destination of where you want to go. So the first thing, David, as far as fixing your shooting form, is what are you fixing it to? What do you want it to look like, first of all? We know what you don't want it to look like. What do you want it to look like? Once we get that part down, then we can figure out how you're going to change it. So first of all, figure what that is, and then start practicing the way that you want it to look. And as far as the speed and ball handling, same thing I said to the questioner earlier. If you want to dribble faster, you have to practice faster. So whatever speed you do your dribbling moves now, start practicing them faster than that. And you are capable of doing that. Yes, you will lose the ball. Yes, it will be frustrating. Yes, it will be a while before you get comfortable with that pace. But guess what all that is? That's practice. That's working on your game. Next question. Morris Robinson says, how does playing overseas differ from playing high-level college or the NBA? Well, Morris, that's a good question. Honestly, I can't really answer that because I played Division III college, which is not what anyone would call high-level college. And college is Division I, Division II, Division III. I played Division III, so I don't know what it's like to play high-level college because I didn't play at that level. And I also don't know what it's like to play in the NBA because I didn't play in the NBA. So I can't really tell you what the difference is between the NBA and high-level college and overseas. Only somebody who's played at those levels can tell you what the difference is. So I really can't answer that question, honestly. Next question. The Norse Banana says, Dre, how important is taking a day off from working out? Will it be a negative thing working that hard every day without ceasing? Not necessarily, Norse, but it's also not necessarily a good thing to work out without ceasing because all of our bodies are different. For example, me and you could go to the gym and do the exact same exercises, but I might feel like dead tired, like I need to take a rest, and you might feel energized, like you could go for another 3 hours, or vice versa. All of our bodies are different, and what you're putting in your body, how much rest you're getting, all the stuff you've done in the years, months, days up to the point of that workout, all of those things factor in. So it's not necessarily that we're looking at it in a vacuum like, oh, just because you worked out 5 days in a row means you need to take a day off. What were you doing the 5 days before that, the 5 weeks, and the 10 years before that? All of that stuff factors in. So it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. You have to listen to your body, and when your body tells you it needs a rest, you give it a rest. But there are things you can do that will help your body stay in good shape, which is make sure you're putting the right fuel in your body, because there's certain things that, I don't care who you are not going to help you. Like, we know the type of foods that don't help. You know that fried foods, packaged foods, processed foods, a lot of sugars, those things don't help your body. Soda, ice cream, cake, those things don't help you, and we all know that. And even if you never actually consciously thought about it, inherently you know those aren't good for your body if you're an athlete. You know that vegetables help, you know that fruit helps, you know that water helps. Those three things pretty much in general will help your body. So if you put more of those and less of the other stuff, that'll help you. Those are just general things. I've talked about that in the diet and nutrition videos. If you haven't seen those, check those out on my channel. So to answer your question is, it's not that black and white. You just have to listen to your body, and what your body tells you it needs a rest. When your body tells you it needs a rest, give it a rest. Next, Chris JB. He says, I'm fine with pushing the ball up in transition, but he struggles when he has an aggressive defender on him, which makes him end up turning the ball over or he makes a bad pass. Is there any way to shake the defense off so he can get some room and drive on him? Chris, of course, there are a million ways to shake the defense off. And if you actually go to my playlist, I'll refer you to 2 different playlists and to Hoop Handbook. First of all, I got a ball handling playlist where I have over 200 vids on one playlist, and I had to start another one because the playlist limit is 200 videos. So I have almost 400 ball handling drills posted to YouTube at this exact moment. So if you work on, you could pick any 10 of those ball handling drills. That'll help you handle, first of all. And then I have a driving moves playlist. And again, the playlist limit is 200. I think I'm on driving moves playlist number 4. So we talking 2, 4, 6, almost 800 driving moves videos, which are all designed around using the ball, dribbling the ball, and getting to the basket. So different drills, different moves that you can do. So use those playlists, and if you want a specific program that'll help you drive to the basket, just think of your favorite player and his ability to drive to the basket. Think of the player whose skills you want to try to add to your game. You don't want to try to become that guy, but add that player's skills to your game. And you can go look that player up at hoophandbook.com and get that player's signature workout program. So all your favorite guards, I'm just going to assume you're a guard, I don't know, but let's just say that you are. Derrick Rose, Chris Paul, Tony Parker, Stephen Curry, even Allen Iverson, Steve Francis. We got all those guys' programs at hoophandbook.com. Next question. Says Sue Curry asked me another question. We do one question apiece here, y'all. Or at least if you're going to ask me more than one, at least put them on one comment. Next question. Christian Meredith says he got Jump Manual a while back and he got a new computer. How would he go about getting the email to re-download the content onto his new computer? What you would do, Christian, is email the Jump Manual people, because Jump Manual is not my program. I don't own Jump Manual. So you would go to, you got a new computer, but you still had the same email address, right? So you log into your email that you already had. You find the email that you got Jump Manual, your confirmation, and just email them, tell them the situation, and they'll take care of it. Next, Henry Piao says, I'm from Australia in high school. He's thinking about getting the Ultimate Athlete program from hoophandbook.com. Is it a one-time thing, or can he do it over and over? Do I have any suggestions? Yes, you can do it multiple times because the program is designed for both in-season and off-season training, and it's a 15-week program. So once you get through with that program, that'll be 15 weeks from now, from whenever you begin it. You might be in the season at that point, or you might be out of the season at that point. So then you adjust it for the in-season and off-season. It is adjusted for you, basically, for in-season and off-season. Can you do it over and over again? Yes. But once you've done it a couple times, you're probably ready to step up to the next program, which can be the position of power, which you use equipment. And then you got Work 52, which is a year-long program. Next question. CT1 says, could you do some in-game basketball drills? Well, I don't know what that means, CT, because if you're in the game, then you won't do drills. You don't do drills in a game. In a game, you just play. And if you're doing drills, then you're not in the game, because you do drills when you're practicing. So I don't understand what you mean. JJ Hollaby says, I'm 5 feet 1 inch tall. I'm in 9th grade. He was a starting point guard on JV this year. Do I think he should play AAU or just focus on things he's not good at and train in the summer? Well, JJ, why can't you do both? What's stopping you from playing AAU and practicing on the side? I don't see why you had to pick one or the other. Next question. Udell Despain says, are the 30-day signature workouts, do you have digital access, and what form do you get to work out? I actually responded to that. I didn't realize it was for the Q&A, but anyway. Yes, they are digital. You will get immediate access, and if you go to hoophandbook.com, we have a FAQ page, which stands for frequently asked questions, and that'll answer any and all questions you have. So if anyone ever asks me one that I haven't answered, that one we have answered on the site. Anything that hasn't, I'll add it to the FAQ page, but that one is addressed on the site. Chris Damian says, seems like be getting nicer. Seems like I've been nicer lately in the Q&As. Okay, if you say so, that's fine with me. And he says, he has a question about eye contact. Do I think it's important in basketball? Do I make eye contact on offense or defense? Well, Chris, it depends on what the eye contact is for. I mean, I can't really, it's a vague question the way that you worded it. Does eye contact matter? Do you mean like eye contact, like if I tell my teammate, go over here, then we need to look at each other? Not necessarily. And on defense, do you mean eye contact with my teammate or with the guy who's on the other team? I don't understand what you mean, so you have to clarify. Lil Mo 102 says, does weed stunt your growth? Well, I can't answer that, Lil Mo, because I'm not a consumer. Derrick Rose says, I've been doing your conditioning drills for the last week, sprints and push-ups every night and on Saturday. He played pickup and he was driving in at will almost like any time he used to before his injury. He had an injury in the summer. He says, thanks. Now he has to work on his jumper so he doesn't have to rely on driving every time. Well, congratulations, Derrick Rose. I'm glad that you've been improving by putting in the work on your game. NBA General. We got 3 questions left. He says, he's a big fan of my drills. He said, drills of vids. He's a big fan of my vids. Right now, Miami's in the 8th seed and Cleveland's in the 2nd seed. And if Miami moves up to 7, they will play Cleveland in the first round. That is correct. Do I think they would have a chance to push them to 7 games? Absolutely not. I think Cleveland would destroy the Heat in the first round right now, especially the Heat without Chris Bosh. I don't think they will have a chance to compete with Cleveland because Cleveland's playing very well right now. I mean, last night Kyrie had 57 points. I know most of you probably left your comments before that even happened. And I think the Heat's best chance is if Whiteside is playing very well because he's been very good when he's been good. But when he's been bad, he's been very bad. And he's made some head case moments. He's had some head case moments where he just lost his cool. So if that happens, then the Heat really don't have a chance. I think if the Heat and Cavs played in the first round, I say the Cavs win in 5 games. But my thought right now is that the Pacers, the way they're playing, especially if they get Paul George back and he's in good shape, that they could knock Miami and also Brooklyn, who's playing well, and also the Boston Celtics, who actually just came to Miami and beat Miami in Miami. I think those teams might, I think those teams might knock Miami out of the playoff race, period. I'm a huge Dwayne Wade fan. I think right now, as it stands, the Miami Heat might not even make the top 8 in the East, and they'll be a lottery team. That's what it's looking like right now. But we still got a month left, so anything could change. Next question. Them Rican Boy says, how do you manage relationships with people who don't elevate your mind, but genuinely are good friends? That's a very good question. So he says, when you're dealing with people who don't really help you get better, but they're good friends to you, the way that I deal with that, and that's actually a question that I'm going to address on my other channel, my Dre All Day channel, which is youtube.com/Dre All Day, because it's not really a basketball question, but I'm glad you asked that because I will make a vid about that. I think the way that you deal with that is that you deal with them on a surface level, that you talk to them enough that you can maintain the relationship, but you don't get so emotionally bought into what they're talking about or their problems or anything they want to bring you into. You gotta keep in the back of your mind that this person is like for entertainment. It's kind of like if you watch a reality show on TV. Like, you know, this is not helping you at all. You're just watching for a little bit of comic relief for 30 minutes or maybe even an hour once a week, and then you let it go, and then you get back to the business of actually doing something constructive with your life. So I know exactly what you mean, because I know people like that who they're not doing anything positive for me, but they friends of mine. I have love for them. I want them to do well, and they want me to do well, but they ain't doing nothing for me. So I deal with them enough on the surface level that we cool, that we maintain a relationship. As you never know, people might change and they might actually become a useful person in your life. But during the point that they're not, you keep your distance. You maintain your distance from that person, because they got to understand that your number one priority is to yourself. Your number one priority is to get you where you want to be. And if they're not helping you get there, then they got to fall back in the picture. If they're not helping you get to where you want to go, then they got to get off to the side. And once they get on track to helping you where you want to go, then you can pull them back a little bit. But very good question. Last question. Amazing One says, do you think Kobe can shoot threes better than LeBron? I have no idea. You had to look at the stats, and I would just go off the success ratio or the productions. I wouldn't go by that's not a subjective question. I just go objectively off efficiency. So that's it. Thank you everybody for the questions this week. Again, y'all been coming through with very good thought-provoking questions. Leave your comments and your questions in the comments to this video, and that'll become Q&A number 63. One question per person. If you got more than one question, and you put them all in the same comment, at least make them related to each other. Don't ask me 10 different random questions about all different stuff, because then all I'm going to do is just answer the first one. So come up with one good question and just leave it in the comment. That's it, everybody. HoopHandbook.com. I mentioned that enough times on this site. The merchandise is also there. Work on your game. DreAllDay.com. Checking out this video. Make sure you follow all my top content up here. Follow me on all your favorite social networks right over here, and make sure you are subscribed to catch all the new content I put on this channel every single day. Work on your game.